Yeah. Anyway, I saw that and I was like, this is just too weird, and it
Oh,
really
that's
throws
great.
you back. Yeah. But you said you were running
Not
across
too long
videos like
ago.
that?
Yeah, this I've been getting a lot of on YouTube recommendations for videos from a documentary filmmaker called David Hoffman,
Mm.
and he's got a ton of videos on his YouTube page, and some are like 8+ million views. And he basically in the 80s interviewed just random people, like
Hmm.
what was your experience like living in the 50s, or like what was Vietnam like, and like from guys that in the 80s that were in Vietnam, and like just a bunch of really, and it just like on the surface it just seems like this could be boring, but when you actually hear and see people like that are youngish in the videos talking about like what what they did as a teenager or a
Hmm.
young
Hmm.
adult in the
Yeah.
50s, and like what people who used to be hippies in the 60s and now they're in the 80s like with a normal job and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
like just talking about, I mean it's I can't get enough of them. Like
Yeah.
I highly recommend people check it out. And so much so that like was looking at videos to potentially share today, but I mean, they're all pretty long, but I didn't have enough time really to condense any. But I actually reached out, I found his email, David Hoffman.
Uh-huh.
He's still alive. And
Really?
yeah, I emailed him.
Did
And
you really?
I emailed him today. And just because, well, this is basically what I said. I was like, I recently discovered your work on YouTube. I feel like these videos are really important and really fascinating to me, with the firsthand accounts, blah, blah, blah. I was born in 1990, and I'm always fascinated by, any, different decades of the 20th century in America. And told him about the podcast. And I was like, he's like, I was like, wondering if you'd come on and do a quick interview. Guy's got millions of like views and followers. And I was like, I completely understand if you're too busy, but it couldn't hurt to inquire.
Ooh,
Here,
he's
here's
using the
here,
fancy one.
here, here are links to our videos, our website. He literally answered in like 15 minutes. He's like, hey,
Oh
he's
man,
like, thanks so much for connecting with me and
that's good.
inviting me to your new interview style program. This dude's like probably 80 something.
Yeah.
He's like, I watched a few, I watched a few of your videos for a few minutes, and would have a lot of suggestions to make on how you can improve them. Suggest suggestions you may or may not want to hear.
Dude, this is so good.
Didn't ask for your opinion, bro. And then he was like, "You're correct that I do not have enough time to be interviewed by you. And just for your consideration, I do work with people who support me on Patreon. Here's my link and a contribution of $25 a month, and I'll answer all your questions. Whatever you want to do, I wish you good luck."
Wow. Okay.
So I was like, sweet. David Hoffman reached out, but he's not going to be coming on the podcast.
Oh man.
I was right in saying that you were right. I don't have enough time.
This is after he checks out some of our videos and
Yeah,
responds
he's like, I
within
looked for,
15
yeah.
minutes. Oh
And guys,
man.
I have a lot of suggestions that you may or may not want to hear. I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to hear them. And I think he's just like, well, his assumption now is like, I'm going to be on his Patreon.
Oh
And he's
yeah.
like, sweet, looking forward to that money. And then I'll answer those questions.
Oh man. Oh,
But
that's good.
seriously, I mean, his YouTube page is really fascinating. I mean, the videos on there are really, they're funny. Some are sad, some are, I mean, just they're overall really interesting glimpse into firsthand accounts of, what the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s were like, and all different types of regular people, how they
Mhm.
saw them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. That would be really interesting. Yeah, we should splice some of that stuff and throw it up here.
Yeah.
Give the guy a little a boost in
Yeah. A little
viewership and
boost.
listenership. Yeah.
Yeah. This will help him out.
It's
He really help us out, but we'll help him out.
Oh man, that was such a good response. I liked it a lot.
I know. I
Yeah,
was like, yeah, I get it.
I don't get it. That's the funny part
Mm.
because like when people ask me questions on other like medicine stuff that I
Mm.
cover, that I mean I get bombarded with a lot of questions and stuff, and people just kind of expect me to just like, sure, I'll sit down with you right now and we'll just go through everything and figure things out for
Yeah.
you, and I'll do it for free, and
Right.
you'll just give me a thumbs up and everything will be fine. So, I mean, I'm sure he has a lot more popularity, and
Oh yeah.
I just ignore like half the messages I get because I just can't keep up with it. And people
Right.
genuinely are just like, "Hey, do this for me, do that for me, or whatever it is." So I just find it hilarious that he actually took the time, watched some videos, and
Yeah.
responded in 15 minutes, and then said that
Yeah. I
uh,
watched 1 second of 3 videos.
I do not have time. You are
Yeah,
correct.
you got time to watch her. Yeah, I just want to ask you like 5 minutes, dude. That's all I want.
That's
That's all I
hilarious to
want.
me. That's, that's too
But yeah,
funny.
David Hoffman. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I totally get it as well, but it was just like I was like, I don't want to. I don't know if he's got an Instagram or any social media, but I just found his website, which was
Yeah,
clearly done in the 90s, and
yeah.
scrolled to the bottom and saw an email and was like, let's go for it. And he just, it was like he was just waiting to answer it.
But he's too busy. Oh man, that is too freaking funny. But all the best to David Hoffman. All the best.
Yes, thanks for
I'll definitely
answering.
I'll have to check out his videos.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be interested. I've seen some like old videos of people, a guy. I don't know. Maybe it's David Hoffman. Who knows? But this was like a year ago. I watched some videos of this guy going around the streets and just interviewing people, just asking them like, "Do you believe in aliens?" You know, stuff like
Hmm.
that. And then people would answer. And it's funny to me, there are some slight differences in how people talk then compared to now. And I'm not just talking about like grammar, but it's just like they're like, "Oh, well, shucks, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it could be true. You know."
Yeah, that's another huge part of the videos is like obviously people dressed and their style was
Yeah, yeah,
completely different, but yeah, the way they talk, like their vernacular, what words they use and how they pronounce the words, and it's pretty, yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
people don't talk like that anymore.
No, no, not at all. And you'd probably look at somebody kind of strange if they did talk like that. But I wonder
Yeah,
how that came to be, that it evolved, like the way that we speak
I know.
evolved over time. And it's so subtle. That's the thing.
Yeah, and it varies so wildly just in regions of the country so close together too,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
as far as like accents go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love watching that stuff too. It's really a blast from the past. I really appreciate that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. David Hoffman. It's a cool page, but yeah. And then another guy, I follow Joey Diaz, the comedian. I
Oh yeah.
support his Patreon,
Uh,
and it's like $1 a month, and I always liked his podcast, and I sent him a message on that, and he responded within like an hour from my message too. So I was like, that's pretty cool that
Yeah.
he would, take the time to actually read it and then give me like a pretty like, sincere response anyway,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
like, hey, thanks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Which would have been fine too, but it was just, I go into these things like messaging different people, and I'm like, 98% sure nobody's going to even read this.
Yeah. I've done that
But
many
so
times.
you're just like, all right, that's pretty cool. They actually read it and gave
Mm-hmm.
me a cool answer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So when is he going to be on the podcast?
Yeah, I knew better not to ask him, because I mean, I would love for him to be on. I mean, that would be an amazing episode. But yeah, he's far too busy for that as well.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.